Yeah, that's all right, Em.
I mean, if you could start by telling me who you are and what your connection is. I'm guessing to Parkfield School,
Okay,
was it?
so I went to All Green as a student, 1976. I started there, and then I went to work there after as well. So that's my connection to there.
So tell me your memories of when you were a student there.
But my dad before me was a pupil there. 1915 my dad was born. So, and then when I went to have a look around the school, there was all cabinets with cups in, and my dad's name was on the cups. So I'd love to know what happened to those, because I'd love to see one of those. But yeah, so he should have gone to play for Portsmouth at football, but he had 8 siblings and they didn't get much money then for football, so he had to get a job. So that was a no, but all the cups was there with his names on.
Imagine if he was a player now.
I know.
He's a footballer.
So I went there from 11 to 16. There was some good memories and some bad ones. So made a lot of friends there, some I'm still in touch with. Smacking was allowed when I was at school, so I had my fingers in the desk a few times with the wooden lid dropped. That's how they used to do that sometimes. Boys had the cane. Yeah, so we used to have to go, have all your lessons in the main building, and then you'd walk down the slope, across the fields, right the way to the back to the dinner hall, and you'd have to line up outside in the rain and the snow and cold in.
And was that a separate building? I was looking at the old map and there's like a...
Yeah, there's like a little, right at the back of the field. Yeah, it's right at the back. So as you come down the slope, you'll see some playing courts, like tennis courts and whatnot on your left. And if you follow the path right the way down, it was like a hut on the right-hand side at the bottom. So that was the dinner hall. So we had to queue up outside in the rain and the snow and wait till you was called in for your lunch. So that was how I remember dinner times.
What else do you remember about the actual physical building itself?
Oh, I could draw a map of it. It's quite vivid, the building is. The science labs was up some stairs. You had to go upstairs to do science. And there's cooking rooms there. But then when it was things like art, we used to do pottery as well them days. It was art, pottery. We used to have to walk in our lunchtime all the way down to nearly the Birmingham New Road where the other school was, the annex. There was an annex down there.
When you say the other school, what do you mean?
It was part of All Green, but it was on a different premises. So in our lunchtime, you had to spend your lunch, quickly get your dinner, and then walk all the way down there to get to school on time.
And what lessons was it there? Is it
typing, when girls had to do typing, was down there. Art, all art was down there. Pottery, like hands-on things down there. So we used to go through a little gate right at the back where the dinner hall was, walk across some derelict fields, and I just remember heaps of soil, but it was black, so whether it come from the steel works, we used to walk all across there, all the way through no man's land. You wouldn't do it now. Cross the brook, we used to jump the brook and then get into the annex that way.
And is that still there now, or is that long since?
It's flats now. They've built flats on it.
So do you know where it was, sort of address-wise, or just wondering if I can find it on the... I've got some old maps, you see.
Yeah.
What am I doing if I...
So if you go down to the ring road here, the main ring road at the top where the McDonald's and whatnot is, if you take... Do you know where the B&Q is? If you take the one turn... No.
Not very well, no.
So there's 2 turnings you can take, one to the right, one to the left. If you take the one to the right, carry on, past the new houses they've built, little Diddy Island, round the little island, past the new houses that they've built, and it's on the right-hand side, on the corner, and on the other corner is a big duck pond. The duck pond is still there, but the flats on that corner was where we had to go.
So it was a long way.
We used to walk down there for the afternoon lessons, if you've got those subjects, and then the end of the day, walk all the way back home. So yeah, it was a long way, but you had to be there on time. So
I've not heard anybody talk about that. That's interesting.
Yeah, so I remember walking down there and walking back.
So you wouldn't have been involved with Parkfield School at all in the time you were there, were you? Would you?
Then I started to work there as a lunchtime supervisor at first. Then I went on to the coaches. So I was a supervisor on the coaches, moving the children up and down from our school to the Parkfield School.
It's interesting because Sorry, what's the lady's name?
Miss Taylor.
Yeah. She was telling me there were some bus supervisors.
Yeah,
So
I was one of them.
tell me about that then.
So the coaches used to pull up and then we used to get all the students on. I think it was maths, English and core lessons they used to be moved around for. So we used to have the times that they was moving and the coaches would come. There'd be one supervisor on each coach and then we'd take them up to Park Fields and at the end of the day we'd bring them all back again.
So what was it like on those coaches?
Bit rough sometimes. Couple of fights here and there and arguments and not wanting to wear seat belts and whatnot, that kind of thing. In the winter we used to stand outside waiting for the coaches and the students used to pile us with snowballs while we was waiting. But yeah, and then we merged and all came here after.
So do you remember how people felt when they knew that the schools were going to close effectively and all come here? What was the feeling at the time?
I think it was mixed. I think a lot of Parkfields didn't want to come here. And then the ones that was already based here, it was going to be a lovely new school, so they did want to come back here. So I think there was mixed feelings with it, really. A lot of people wanted to, and then you had the ones where we're Parkfields, we're not Bilston. But once it opened, I think it was quite good.
So tell me about your history of working here.
So I was a lunchtime supervisor first at the old school. Then I went on to the coaches to do some work on there. Then I done my teaching assistant training and then I was mainly based in year 10 and 11 doing teaching assistant work. And then I've become the school medical officer now, so I'm not in classes anymore. I'm the medical officer.
So how long have you worked here?
1985 I started, I think.
And you came straight on through to this school as well, so you worked.
Yeah, so I started off over there, the one that they've knocked down, then moved to Parkfields while they built this, then I came here, yeah.
Oh wow, so you've seen some changes then?
Yeah, definitely.
So how do you think the students have changed over that time?
Oh, I mean, they've got a lot more opportunities here. There's a lot more things that they can do, and I think it's a lovely building for them. So I think they've got a lot more chance here, and this school was a lovely school. So to be given a school like this for them.
And what about their attitudes? Because obviously you saw it at the coalface on the coaches.
Yeah.
What's it like in terms of respect and behaviour and stuff?
So I think when they first come over here, it was like a lovely new school, and they really appreciated it, and I think the behaviour was really good. I think we have seen a change in the current year 7s that we've got now. They're a bit difficult. So the next intake, I'm not sure what they're going to be like.
Right. You do sometimes get rogue.
Yes, so we've had quite a challenging year 7 this year. So yeah, and then I remember the old head teacher when I was at the old school, Miss Plum. So that was the head teacher when I was there.
So you said, you said you had some good times and bad times. Was that because of the school, or were you a bit of a rebel, do you think?
No, I wasn't a rebel. I mean, the classes was tiered like they are now, in like the higher classes to the lower classes, and I was in the top bands. So academically, I was fine and I was good, and I'd got quite a strict dad. So if anything gone home, there would have been problems. But I think the teachers were so strict, some of them, you were scared to speak to them. So I do remember a maths teacher, Mr. Harris. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the names, but Mr. Harris, he was my maths teacher, and I was scared of him. So if you didn't do your homework, you'd be in trouble, a lot of trouble. And I remember the once I was really stuck, so I got my cousin to help me, who was older than me, and I got it done. And that's when I had my fingers in a desk, because he kind of knew I didn't do it. And so I got into trouble for that. And then I was scared to tell my dad, because my dad was not a man to mess with, and he'd have been up the school and all. Yeah, so there is memories of things like that.
I think maths teachers were.
Yeah, he was really strict. He just didn't want to go into his class.
And I suppose that's all changed now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because the only sanctions you can do, there's obviously no physical
No,
sanctions.
but I mean, I didn't get like a lot of students had a ruler across their hands, and I wasn't a rogue at all, and I was quite well behaved. I just remember that one incident.
Well, if you were well behaved, that one
Yeah,
incident
it
would
sticks
stand
out,
wouldn't
doesn't
it?
it?
If you were a perpetual troublemaker, you probably wouldn't remember.
And then it makes you not want to go in the class, so that was a bit of an issue. And then on another occasion, the same teacher ripped my work up because he said I couldn't have done it, but I did actually do it. And I remember thinking, oh, I did do that, and I had it ripped up. And so there is bad memories, and then there's also...
What about good stuff? Were you part of, do you remember any trips or particular
Oh yeah,
lessons?
yeah. I was really good at hockey, so I was in the school hockey team. I was incredibly good at swimming, so by the time I was 12 I'd got all my goals, all my life-saving things, really stood out for swimming, and I should have carried it on. Not so good now, but I should have carried it on. I loved cooking, excelled in cooking. I remember the cooking teacher, a face, but I can't remember her name. Mr. Robinson was one of my teachers, I think, geography, I think. He was lovely. I really loved geography. So there is some really good memories and some good teachers.
And it's tied in with the teachers. I think if you liked the teachers, you tended to
definitely
like the subject, didn't you?
Definitely. I remember Mr. Wall. I think he did become a head teacher after. I think his name was Mr. Wall. He taught me RE at the time. So there is a lot of good memories and made a lot of good friends.
Do you remember the building being knocked down?
Yeah, yeah.
Can you tell me what you thought of?
It was quite sad, especially because my dad had gone there before as well, so it was quite sad. I did have a final walk round it when we knew it was going, and you've got separate playgrounds, boys and girls, when I went as well. And there was a wall across with boys right across the top, so you were split up break times and lunch times.
Because your dad, if he was born in
1915,
he'd have been there at about...
I'm not sure what age they went to school then. It's younger, I don't know what age they went.
They'd probably left at 14 or something, wouldn't he? But he'd have been one of the you know, sort of early ones. Did he talk much about his time there? Yes,
he said he really enjoyed it, but he was really involved in football heavily. I think he could have made it big, really. But yeah, it was. We had all the main classrooms, and then out on the yard there was porter cabins. We used to go in porter cabins for lessons as well. They're not really used much now, I don't think, in secondary schools especially. So, but then, as I said, we got this big slope, so in the winter to go down to lunch, you was lucky if you could get down the bottom of the slope without falling. It was like an ice skating ring to go down there.
Times has changed, haven't
yeah, and then you come back and you all have to line up in the playground in your form groups before you're allowed in, and stand in a straight line, smart and quiet, before you could even go in. So that's changed a lot.
From what I've seen in high schools now, is they tend to keep students sort of not confined exactly, cut down the break times and the lunch
Yeah,
times.
because we're such a big school here, we've got so many year groups on one lunch and then so many on another, so they're not all out together. When I was at school, we was all out together.
And they stay on campus now, whereas, I mean, when I went to high school, you could...
Yeah, there was no like safeguarding as such as there is now, so you was allowed out round the town dinner time and go to the chip shop and get your chips and your sweets and then come back. A lot didn't come back, you'd have the afternoon off. But yeah, my dad was quite strict, so I came back. So, yeah, so some good memories. And a few teachers I was a little bit scared of because they was allowed to throw the board rubber at you a few times. I had that bounced off my head a few times if you just look in the wrong way. So
that's lovely, that's really nice.
So it was good memories. It was just walking all the way down to that other school was hard to have to walk back again.
Can you imagine asking kids to do that now? Sort of
yeah.
A mile to somewhere else.
And we wasn't picked up from school in a car. You walk home. So it's probably about 20-minute walk from here to get there. Then you've got to walk all the way back, and then I was the other side of Bilston, so all that way you're talking 3/4 of an hour to get home. Walking in the winter as well.
Yeah, rain.
We used to go down there for cooking as well. Some of the cooking, and we used to have the proper straw cooking baskets with the handle. Yeah. So you carry your cooking all the way home through the town. And as you go all the way down, as though you're going to go to the main, do you know the Birmingham New Road?
I do, yeah.
It's as though you're going to go to there, and there's a big duck pond on the corner, and where the flats are on the other corner, that was the school.
Right, okay.
So we used to cook down there, you'd have typing down there, pottery, art, all them kind of lessons down there.
I'll
So
find it on the old map.
yeah, so when you get your timetable, if you'd got, that was always after dinner. So on the days you'd got those, you'd quickly come out, go down to the dinner hall, line up, get your dinner, eat your dinner as quick as you can, and then make sure you're over there on time.
And what was the name of the road you think it's on?
I think it's Lanesfield Road.
Lanesfield,
I think, but I'd have to have a look and then I can get back
Yeah.
to you and tell you that. I mean, I can draw you a diddy little map. It's
Well, I've
like,
got some old maps, so it should be on there.
yeah.
I've got some. So
But as I
I'll have
say,
a
it's
look
not
at
there now. It's all flats.
Yeah.
But where you've got the
duck pond there.
flats and the duck pond is on the corner directly next to it.
Right, brilliant.
But them flats was the school, and there was a little brook at the back, and we used to come round the back and jump over the brook to get into school. And then on the main road there was a petrol station that sold sweets, so if it was quick enough we could go in there to get some sweets before we get into school.
That's brilliant.
And then as you went in, there was a big cloakroom for you to hang your coats up. You didn't take your coats to class with you like you do now. You had to hang those up on the way in, and you collect it on the way out at the end of the day. So yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's lovely.
No
Thank
problem.
you.